Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you Winters versus FoR in the second Asia Pacific tournament, and this is round 2. We've moved on from round 1 where we saw FoR defeat Charge. He's now moved on to round 2 where he's facing Winters, who got a bye in the first round, so he's starting his tournament hopes in the second round. We are still in the upper bracket for round 2, and after this round I will be dropping down to the lower bracket to have a look at the round 1 lower bracket games. So that's what we'll be doing next. But there is a couple more games in the upper bracket that I have to do. But anyway, let's continue with this one. I don't want to confuse you guys too much. This is Sainte-Mère-Église Duellists, and we are seeing Winters with his 2nd Infantry taking on FoR with the 716th Infantry. So FoR on our right here. With that 716th, I think is honestly going to have a hard time against the 2nd Infantry Division. In general, this is not a matchup I would like to see if I was playing the 716th myself, due to the 2nd Infantry having things like the M4 Shermans, which pretty much counter your entire division. Any form of tank with 10 or more armor and 10 or more AP is a real problem for the infantry divisions like the 352nd and the 716th. So I would expect Winters to start with an M4 in this game, because it will provide an absolute ton of pressure onto FoR, which FoR is going to be forced to play around. Now FoR is opting to go for the Flammpanzer B2, and that actually is a pretty good choice against the 2nd Infantry. The 2nd Infantry's AT infantry mainly comprises of the range of Marauders in Phase A, so you can definitely take advantage of that by using flame units. And it's really going to be up to Winters to micro his range of Marauders effectively to find kills onto things like these Flammpanzer B2s and other B2s that FoR may use throughout the game. Because otherwise, the rest of his infantry is pretty much doomed. We're also seeing a couple of Ranger Mortars being brought in here. Looks like that one's just been deleted though. On the top side, going to be the Ranger 30 cal. We have the Ranger Leader, and we also have the AT gun. There is an M4 being brought in. That's maybe what Winters was getting some more points for from deleting the mortar. But we do see some rifles accompanying that, and then plenty of infantry going to the town. So that's another Ranger Marauder there. We have the Ranger Assaults, we have the rifles, and that combination should be pretty strong in pushing out the Osttruppen that FoR can play in the early game. The mortar still there, and on the bottom side it's going to be a Jeep 30 cal with recon and a couple of rifle squads just to hold the ground. On the side of FoR, we do see an Opel Blitz there with an AT gun. One of these has got to be the Pak 40, because the Pak 40 is pretty much the only thing that the 716th gain access to that can kill an M4 Sherman, so he's going to be probably relying on that early on to make some ground. MG is going to be brought in on the bottom side. We do have some recon and a couple of Osttruppen heading to the centre town. There's also a command infantry there, of course, in the Flammpanzer B2 I mentioned earlier. On the top side, it's going to be Osttruppen, command infantry, recon, MG with a Pak 37, I believe that is. So interesting start from FoR. It seems actually pretty light on the start. There's just a lot of Osttruppen. There's quite an expensive investment in the Pak 40, but other than that, I would have expected to see more units afforded by FoR, but I guess with the addition of multiple AT guns and MGs, there's quite a lot of points anyway. On the side of Winters, he's rolling into the town here with these Range Marauders. It's going to be very important for him to keep those Range Marauders close to the rest of his infantry, otherwise he may be finding himself having a hard time against this Flammpanzer B2. This Flammpanzer B2, absolutely awesome unit. Very cool indeed. The Ranger Mortar going to be firing away. Put in loads of smoke rounds down. Going to allow his rifles to take control of the church. Not entirely sure if that's a great idea. since it will reveal the rifles quite easily to the Osttruppen. Panzer B2 there. They're almost finding line of sight onto those rifles, but they did not open up. Now Osttruppen going to be engaging the rifles in the tower, but rifles not taking any damage. Osttruppen losing a few men for their troubles. More smoke coming down. And the reason for all of this smoke is quite simply so Winters can be more aggressive with his Ranger assault. So great job there by Winters, understanding that he is going to need smoke to get his Ranger assaults into their ideal range. B2 did find a line of sight onto these rifles though, and has chunked them to half the strength. M4 is now going to engage the B2 though, and at that range I don't believe the B2 has the penetration value to get through that 10 front armor. He's currently 700 meter range, which puts his AP at about 10 at that range, which is again just not enough to penetrate, but will still be fired upon himself. IG-18 has arrived to reinforce with FoR. AT gun being pulled in on the top side. Osttruppen should have a decent amount of time to fire at that M1 gun. It's really up to this B2 to just get out of line of sight of this M4, because there is nothing that FoR can do about it. On the bottom side he might be able to take out a tank, but down here there isn't one. So that Pack 40, and it is a Pack 40, isn't going to be doing much anytime soon. MG34 trying to make some ground on the bottom side. Spearthrower trying to move forwards as well to find some information, but this is a big push here coming out from Winters. He's being very aggressive, moving forwards his Ranger assaults from building to building. Going to absolutely annihilate these Grenadier. Also getting the napalm down onto those Osttruppen, instant surrender. Very nice indeed, but with this Grenadier pinned down, that is going to cause even more surrenders. These Osttruppen could surely follow, and that they will. These Osttruppen are not in so much of a bad position as they are covered by the B2. And it looks like the B2 may be able to pin down those rifles, but Ranger Leader here, I believe, is scoring veterancy. So those are just going to have to die rather than fall back. Well, there they go. They're running away from that fire, and rightly so. You do not want to be in napalm for very long, I tell you that much. MG34 here has been found by the M4DD, and with the 50 cal and the main gun on target, that's not going to do the job. Ranger Marauders do find themselves killed by the Panzer B2 there as they sneak through the middle of those buildings. Those buildings being on fire wasn't very helpful as the Ranger Marauders could not occupy them. IG-18 finding shots into some of these infantry squads, but being that close themselves, then that IG-18 could just be shot to death by the Ranger Leader. So it looks like the idea of bringing in a second B2 here may be to sort of do a double flank onto the M4 and find a side shot somewhere. Because at the moment there is nothing that FoR really has to attack that M4 from maximum range. He's also bringing in an AT gun as well, and that could very easily ambush the M4 should it get close enough. On this top side though, Pack 37 being killed off by the Ranger 30 cal. Those rifles going to be forced to fall back by the B2. Got its howitzer on target, now looking for the line of sight onto the M4, I would suppose, and it looks like this B2 is going to be going for it at the same time, but he's got to make sure he does this properly, otherwise one of the B2s is going to find line of sight and the other isn't. And yeah, it looks like this B2's already suffered a shot. Ammo storage being hit there, losing half of its ammunition. Flam Panzer B2 though bailed out the T30. Very nice shot indeed. Internal fire though from the M1 gun. Surely it's only a matter of time until the M1 gun scores a killing blow. But nope, gonna miss the next shot, and that is not ideal for Winters. He really wants to get rid of this Flam Panzer B2 because currently it's actually causing quite a lot of pressure onto this infantry. This infantry not having any AT since the Ranger Marauders actually died. The normal B2 there though going down. M4 and the M1 gun getting shots onto that to secure that area. So Pretty nice. Pack 37's going to clean up the T30 there on the top side. That's quite a big blow for Winters. It would have been nice for him to have that to support his M4 in a push against infantry and AT guns at range. But now we see the Lorraines coming in for FoR. And these Lorraines are actually a very good choice in this situation, just because they can do a lot of sort of morale damage to infantry. And that's exactly what you need if you want your Osttruppen to succeed, because your Osttruppen generally don't manage to kill too much. But if your opponent is pinned down, then that is perfect, because they won't be firing back. Now that Lorraine shot taking out those rifles there was very nice indeed. Looks like Winters isn't holding back on the artillery himself though, bringing in this Ranger Mortar at the start of the game, and then the 107 to follow up. This 107, actually a really good choice to sort of pin down the Osttruppen before it even gets to the town, same way that this Lorraine is trying to pin down the infantry in the town. Now, MG34 did break through down here and managed to kill off the recon squad that was here. G30 count still managing to hold the ground though, and has not been found. 2 units of rifles arriving to clean that up. Looks like this Ranger Mortar is coming under fire from these Lorraines. It'll be good from FoR to sort of win the artillery war here, as that's pretty much all he's got going for him moving on in the game. Winters has been sat at a 55% territory lead for the majority of the time so far, 455 points in his favour. So currently FoR has a long way to go. He's got to make back that ground and then find his own lead in order to win this game, and currently it looks a long way off. Panzer B2 still being a nuisance down here though. That's going to be moving down to the bottom side of these buildings, staying out of line of sight of this M4, which is very important if he wants to actually make use of it. But this Pack 37, that's in a pretty nice spot right now. If that M4 moves from behind those trees, it's going to get hit very hard. This Pack 37 now moving in to the side. Looks like it's going to attack me through this forest and go for the hit onto the M4. Right, Panzer B2 still moving up here. Going to be able to burn down the church, hit those ranger supports very hard indeed. Look how much damage he's done. These Panzer B2s really, really good choice. Unfortunately, I don't think it has the line of sight through these trees. It's going to have to go around, but once he gets around, we'll be able to hit the rifles here and the Ranger assaults. But there is a Ranger Marauder squad on the way. Can this Ranger Marauder squad do the job? I don't know. I don't think it needs to. B2 just blew up. Was that the Ranger assault napalming the B2? It must have been. I have no idea why that B2 blew up. I didn't think that these Ranger assaults could kill it. But apparently they can. They must have destroyed that B2 because the Ranger Marauder was not in range. Or not, it wasn't even in the building. I'm not quite sure what went on there, but the Pack 37 finding its way through this tree area. Going to get the transmission damage onto the M4 with the first shot, second shot missing, and then dying to the 50 cal. So that didn't work out very well. Lorraine's still firing though, and still doing quite a lot of damage to this infantry. There's also the chance here that the M4 actually reverses into line of sight of this Pack 37, and we might see another accurate shot at close range, which has the potential to kill. First shot misses. Can the second shot do the job? No, it cannot. Got the weapon jam, which is going to be a problem for that M4, but the smokes come in to save the day. Pack 37 going to be rolling back out of line of sight. More Osttruppen on the way. And we see 2 more Panzer B2s coming in for FoR. There's also the Panzerschreck squad coming in. And for Winters, it's all about the 107mm. 2 of those now on the field, and using the 107mm instead of the 60mm is actually a very good idea in this scenario, because you don't want the Lorraines to like just easily kill off your 60mm. So getting your own artillery that's got 1,600 meter range is pretty important, and that's allowing him to fend off this Osttroopen quite well. So the double Panzer B2, that needs to be accompanied by enough Osttroopen to make a difference. Then these Lorraines have to hit their mark if FoR wants any chance of getting into this town. But it looks like Winters is already got his mind made up as to what he wants to do, and is going to be bringing in the xylophone here. And this xylophone can do a lot of damage to any pushes coming through from FoR. It's a good way to stop a large infantry push in its tracks, is using this xylophone. FoR's going to be going for the Verflammen though, and this is definitely turning into a arty war. These 25 HE power rockets going to be very strong indeed. Napalm rockets they are. Let's see what he can hit. Wow, he nearly took out those Ranger Marauders. He did pin them down. He did, however, manage to actually kill off a unit of rifles before they unloaded. So fantastic job there by the Verflammen, setting Sainte-Mère-Église alight. I don't think that's going to be the last time that happens. The rain's still firing away. B2 still arriving. Another one going to be coming up there. That's the Flampanzer variant. But now we are going to start to see a focus on the Italian infantry, by the looks of things, instead from FoR. He's got one unit coming in the KFZ 70 to the town, and he's got one coming down to the bottom side there. So this Panzer B2 is having a go at killing the M4 Double D, but I don't think it's going to be very successful in doing so. That M4 has plenty of time to get behind the tree line there and hide away. It seems as though this duck just wants to sort of repair the M4, but now the M4 is under fire from the Pak 37 on the top side. However, that doesn't look like it's going to last very long under fire from both the rifles and the 30 cal. We'll have to wait and see. It is pinned down, and there it goes. It is now dead. So the M4 Double D going to be surviving to fight another day. Panzer B2 finding shots onto the Ranger 30 cal. And these Lorraines, they're still firing away. One Opel Blitz munition has almost been used up entirely. The second one having to be brought in there. On the side of Winters, it's all about the ducks. And he has now brought in even more artillery. The M2A1 howitzer now joining us on the field. So what an arty war this has turned into. It's going to slow down the game a lot. And with Winters in the lead with the 53% territory lead, I don't think that's going to change very soon. Especially with the investment in artillery from both players. You can see there the Osttroopen there being finished off. Ranger Marauders were microed forwards to take out the B2. Very nice job indeed. Flampanzer B2 on the top side now being hit by the M1 gun. And these kills, honestly, coming out of Winters onto these B2s are pretty important at the moment. Because without the B2s, FoR's going to have a hell of a hard time pushing against this infantry in the town. He did manage to pick off the command infantry in the town. And that's actually a pretty big deal, because currently there's 3 units of rifles that have the potential of being surrendered should an enemy unit move upon them. B2 still got line of sight onto these rifles as well, and those ones just burnt to death. But this Verflammen could definitely continue to do a lot of work throughout the rest of the game. Looks like these Lorraines are going for counter battery onto the 107mm mortars and the M2A1 howitzer. I'm very surprised that mortar did not die from that shot. That was almost a direct hit, taking down the mortar to 1 health. So more rifles now arriving. reinforcing Sainte-Mère-Église. I feel like Winters is going to have to continue investing in more infantry though. He can't hold back, otherwise he's just going to relinquish the town to FoR and give FoR a chance to come back in this game, where pretty much he shouldn't have a chance to come back from now on. And that is a pretty big mistake on the bottom side of the town, allowing the Italian infantry there to kill his rifles before they unloaded with the Panzerfaust. Very big deal indeed. Clan Panzer B2 still alive on this top side. I do not know how. Is currently bouncing all sorts of shots being fired at by an M4A1 and the M4DD there. Also the M1 gun is still alive. Crazy stuff. More infantry coming in here for FoR. B2 on the top side finally goes down. So these are now pioneers, but they don't really have many buildings that they can jump to and from. And that could be a problem. VulcanHDGaming going to be destroying some Ranger Marauders there, doing quite a bit of damage to the rifles and M1919s, but without the command here, we do see that one of the pioneers has immediately surrendered, and this Italian infantry on the bottom side of the town isn't doing too well either. So 54%, 55% territory lead, still going to remain in favour of Winters. And I can't help but think that any pushes now coming out of FoR are going to be absolutely futile. The Lorraines there going for the counter battery, not quite hitting the mark. In this top side, the rifles now charging down the Speertruppen and the Osttruppen. And with the support of an M4A1 and the M7DD, that push could be over very quickly with Winters breaking through. B2 goes down there to the M4. And these Lorraines have now moved forwards to engage the enemy artillery. But these M2A1 howitzers, with their 2,400 meter range, should never be in range of the Lorraines throughout the entire game. Like, they just shouldn't. Otherwise, that's a mistake. And currently, the Lorraines are finding the range, as far as I'm aware. They did just take out one of the 107mm mortars. Good job there. Now, it looks like some of this infantry is recovering. The pioneers need to find a building though that they can jump into. Currently it's going to be very hard for them since most of them are burnt to the ground. But all of the infantry in the town now from Winters is pretty depleted, and I don't think it'll be very long until Winters actually runs out of infantry completely. But a very nice kill there from the Panzerschreck, coming in and taking out the M4. I've mentioned this before. These Panzerschrecks can definitely pay themselves off very easily due to them having such a low cost of 30 points there. And that Panzerschreck just took out a unit that was pretty much 3 times more expensive. It's a very nice job indeed. Xylophone destroying the Italian infantry. Pioneers just about managing to find themselves some cover. Up in this top side, rifles still trying to make an advance against the Osttruppen, now being hit back by the Pack 40, but it's only a matter of time until Winters finds a +2, and there isn't much that can save FoR in Phase C, so things are only going to go from bad to worse here for FoR, I believe, unless FoR can really start winning out on the artillery front, finding some counter battery onto these M2A1 howitzers and the 107mm mortars. But there's now 2 xylophones on the field as well, and I feel like that's what Winters is mainly focusing on. He's got 3 ducks on the map. That is a lot of supply. Now it seems as though the Pack 40 here did find line of sight and a kill onto the M4A1 command on the top side. Very nice indeed. Lorraines are now firing at the M2A1 howitzers. Taking out one of those at least would be very nice indeed. VulcanHDGaming are waiting to fire away with their 25 HE rockets, and it might just be in time for the arrival of this Italian infantry. Panzer B2 did get internal fragments from the M1 gun, and that's going to completely deplete the ammunition coming out there from the B2. So VulcanHDGaming One of them going to be hitting to the right side, killing off that command infantry. Very nice indeed. Second lot is going to kill off the MG there. All of those rockets landing almost in exactly the same place, doing the job, most certainly. The Rains are taking a lot of damage. Aren't going to be the most accurate, and currently FoR's infantry is being routed. I think it's only a matter of time until we see a 58% territory lead, and there it is for Winters, the +2 on the board. 10 minutes and 10 seconds till victory. So the only way that I can see FoR getting back into this game is if he finds a way to get his tanks into this town, kill off Winters' infantry without being sniped by like the M1 gun or like an M4. Because he's killed both of the M4s on the top side now, and that 88 just sniped the M7. So that kind of leaves the map a bit more open for like any infantry play. But any sort of 88 that reveals itself on the map at this point is just going to get RT'd by the M2A1 howitzers. Just like that IG-33 there got taken out very quickly by the M2A1s. And the Rains are also pinned down here, so they're not going to be firing back anytime soon. Verflammens though, as soon as they're reloaded, firing away once again. Going to be trying to get rid of these Ranger assaults. Definitely doing a lot of damage. P-38 Lightning comes in to rocket the Ostrupen, gets hit back by the 88s. We see some infantry rolling into the town there. Again, P-38, another one, going to be cleaning up the last couple of men there. And now we have the counter battery coming in onto the Verflammens, and that could make things very difficult for FoR. He's going to have to make sure that he moves that Opel Blitz munition away, because he does not want that to blow up next to his Verflammens. Verflammens don't have a lot of armor whatsoever. Panzer B2 is going to be rolling into the town with the Italian infantry. And we see the Panzerhaubitze Lorraines have now recovered, so maybe they'll find shots onto the M2A1 howitzers. He's definitely going to need to if he wants to advance in this game. It looks like he's currently focusing on this 107mm mortar, which is also a good choice. Again, if he hits this duck, it will blow up and kill the 107mm most definitely. You've just got to find a direct shot, and currently forcing that duck to fall back is not the best idea. The xylophone might end up hit by a shot just by rolling past on the road. Either way, IG-33 has come up on the top side. That's going to be killing off those rifles and cleaning those up. That's put it back to a +1. Currently, Winter's going to win the game in 15 minutes and 30 seconds. Panzer B2 doing a lot of damage to the Ranger supports here, and I'm pretty sure that Winters has used up most of his Ranger Marauders by now. So that might lead or leave a path for the B2s through this town, in which it can use its sort of flamethrower there to great effect. But the xylophone's going to be firing away. Oh, this is going to be nasty. Doing a lot of damage, at least morale damage to the infantry. Actually didn't even pin down this Italian infantry though. And I'm surprised that nothing happened to these Lorraines. Both of these are M2A1 howitzers currently firing at the 88mm back here. Verflammens have reloaded though, and they are going to start to move up and find their way towards the rifles and Rangers on the bottom side of Sainte-Mère-Église. Italian infantry did unload now onto the M5 gun. One of the squads did, however, die without doing anything. Now it's Pack 40 versus M5 gun. Italian infantry just trying to run out the way of the incoming artillery fire. P-38's pinning down the Pack 40. But ME-109G0 on the case. That should be enough to shoot down the P-38, and it will be with the help of the Flak 88. Italian infantry, will they be able to do anything? I don't think they will. The M5 gun's going to pin them down. At that range, Easy enough shots. Land Panzer B2 is right in the middle of this town. Oh, did just get ammo storage hit though by the Flam Panzer. Well, the Flam Panzer got ammo storage hit. Easy surrender there though, coming in from the Pioneers. And wow. We did see a very nice shot come in there onto the M2A1 howitzer. Flammen going to be cleaning up these rifles on the top side of Sainte-Mère-Église, and it's currently gone to 50-50. But I feel like FoR has a long way to go if he wants to win this one. He's definitely got it to a place where Winters almost neglected his infantry in the town. And now FoR's taken advantage of that with the Flam Panzer B2. Like, this investment in artillery is just crazy from Winters. He's got double xylophone, triple xylophone, 2 M2A1s, 3 M2A1 howitzers, and he did have 2 107mm mortars. So absolutely crazy artillery doctrine coming out of Winters during this game. And it definitely meant he neglected his infantry in the town, and that's why you can see the progress made by FoR. But it's not progress that's going to last, unfortunately, with the Italian infantry here going to be napalmed out. One of the reinforcing infantry there, though, getting blown up immediately by the Wehrflammen, and those Ranger assaults are also pinned down. So it's just a matter of whether or not FoR has much more infantry of his own, because he could be running very low on infantry availability himself. And if that's the case, he won't be holding on to Sainte-Mère-Église for very long. Especially with the arrival of the M10A1 destroyer now. Very good for taking care of B2s. It's really up to this Pack 40, honestly. And this Pack 40 is likely to be killed by the M5 gun. Yeah, just got pinned down there. Second shot will get the kill. Especially if this Pack 40 reveals itself like it just did. And it did not get the kill to pin, or did not get the hit to pin down the M5 gun, so Pack 40 going to be going down itself. So the infantry coming in here, and my lord, is Sainte-Mère-Église burning today. You would not want to be a citizen of this town, I'll tell you that much. Because in Steel Division, your town is perpetually destroyed over and over and over again. And yeah, this is a very fiery day today, with all of the napalm rockets coming down. ME-109G0 flying over the overhead of 2 M20 commands. Not going to do it many favours. Actually took quite a lot of damage from that. Xylophone going to be ripping to shreds the Pioneers. Does not care about pinning down his own Ranger assaults. Just wants to get those Pioneers out of there. It looks like FoR did find himself 11 points. With a brief +1. But the Bofors here. Is that going to be bombed out? It is, but barely took any damage. And the ME-109 took a lot of punishment for the privilege of landing that bomb. So I'm not convinced that was the best choice of units out of FoR at this point. I feel like he's relying on the Air Force, though, primarily due to the fact he's almost out of ammunition. Surely, I think he honestly might be out of ammunition entirely. With 3 Opel Blitz munitions completely used up. No, here comes a 4th. Never mind. FoR proving me wrong. Going to be continuing to reload his Wehrflammens. It looks like he did lose one. Never mind, it's there. I was going to say he lost one of his Wehrflammens along the way, but he did not. But he does need to reload it. So bringing in another Opel Blitz munition is very important for keeping these Wehrflammens firing, as they are definitely a win condition for FoR at this point. There is currently 10 minutes left on the match. Well, 9 minutes and 15 seconds to be more precise. And if FoR wants to win the game, then he's going to have to find a +2 or even a +3 at this point, since Winters has racked out 1,563 points, which is a substantial lead. And now with the arrival of the M4A1s and the M4DD, Honestly, this could get pretty difficult for FoR to actually do, because these M4s and so on, there's no easy way to kill them for FoR unless he gets like close range with the B2 and gets like a close range penetrating shot. The other way that he can kill the M4s is with like Pak 40s and Flak 88s, but the 88s are just going to get artied, and so is any Pak 40 that presents a threat to a M4. Like, Winters is very unlikely to let those kills go through. In the town, we do see like the KFZ 70s bringing in this Italian infantry, and those do have the Panzerfaust they can use. There's also the Panzer Schreck here, and that is going to clean up an M20 command. So that again puts threat onto the M4s, but whether or not he can actually pull it off or not is a different matter entirely. This xylophone's going to move forwards, probably fire at the exact position where that Panzer Schreck was sighted. And if those xylophone strikes land on target, well, that's infantry that's not going to go very far. And there, that is a lot of damage. Wow. Those xylophone strikes becoming invaluable throughout this game. Absolutely insane. Panzer Schreck squad dead. Italian infantry down to 1 and 3 health respectively. Crazy stuff indeed. These Lorraines are really going to want to find shots onto those xylophones and try and kill them off, because they are just providing so much cover for Winters at the moment. And a 4th xylophone is on the field. This is crazy. I have never seen so much artillery in a 1v1 game before. This is just insane. ME109G2 R1's coming into the top side of the map. Honestly, this is a place where you could look to break through. Winters only has the range of Marauders there and the M1 gun. And should the M1 gun die, you know, you could get a unit up here from FoR and gain quite a lot of ground that way. But it's a long way off. There's still, of course, 3 M4 double Ds to get through, and M4A1. And even with this B2 being close range, I don't think it's necessarily going to win an engagement against an M4A1. They shot at the same time. B2 backed off a little bit due to its morale damage, and that is going to mean that it loses the battle. But HS129 has something to say about that. Wow. HS129 comes in, kills off one of the M4 double Ds. B2 takes out a second. The HS129 not finding the shot onto the M4A1 here is a pretty big deal. But now we just got to look at the engagement with this M4, because if that one dies, maybe, just maybe, FoR can win this game. Who knows? That's only an Ostrooper, unfortunately, not going to do any damage to the M4, and the M4 survives. So that's not going to go down anytime soon, and without the B2 to continue pushing, that is really savage. This Verflammen is really looking for a shot onto these xylophones. Oh, it's going to be nasty. If this Verflammen finds the shot there with the 425 HE power rockets onto 4 xylophones, that is going to be absolutely devastating for Winters. This is going to be insane. Oh my god. The chain reaction there. This duck blew up, it blew up this duck, which blew up all of the xylophones. That's incredible. All of the artillery is dead. Winters has nothing left. This is insane. FoR surely has to just push off this. He did find the kill onto the M4 on the top side as well, thanks to the 88. Oh, I can't believe he's brought this back so well. This is insane. HS129 going for the kill again onto the M4A1 and being unsuccessful. That is a big deal. That is not very nice at all for this HS129. The HS129 ideally wanted to kill off the M4A1, have time to kill off the M4DD as well. But that M4 is actually going to kill off the B2 and the town. And, oh, this is just incredible. It could have gone either way by the looks of things, because at the end of this game, at the moment, we are on a +2 for FoR. He just didn't find it early enough, and I was talking about how these Verflammens can really do a lot of damage in this game, and there you just saw the result of an absolute chain reaction onto all of these xylophones. just crazy stuff. Really, really exciting as well. Ranger assaults there. It looks like the MU-109s were going for the bombing strikes onto that infantry, but missed entirely. The M4 double D there also falling back though because of that. He needs a +3. FoR needs a +3 or even a +4 at this point now, because the more that the time goes down, like we have 3 minutes and 30 seconds left on the clock. The more that the time disappears, like the harder it's going to be for FoR to bring it back. And it's just such a shame, because I would have really liked to have seen the 716th win a game against the 2nd Infantry. And I feel like, you know, Winter's overinvestment in artillery eventually bit him very hard in the ass with that crazy Verflammen strike coming out of FoR. That was spectacular, to say the least. A very, very fun game to watch this has been. Just crazy engagements, and yeah, the use of so many B2s from FoR has been really nice to see. The investment in the Lorraines early on was very, very important and definitely kept him in the game. And then the investment in the Verflammens was absolutely perfect. But yeah, it looks like Winter's, just his division really counters the 716th hard in Phase A and B, and even in Phase C. Winter's there making the mistakes with his M4s to get them killed. Just got a bit over ambitious, but is not going to cost him the game due to there not being enough time left on the map. 2 minutes and 20 seconds are left. So Verflammen's here looking for the shots once again. The Lorraines are trying to stop the repair from the duck onto this M4A1, which is pretty smart. And we have the 88 here engaging the M10, and that is going to find a kill. Pack 43 also killing the M10 on the top side. FoR's kill death is going to be insane. There is barely any units left on the map for Winters. He's really managed to push through in the later phases, and it's just incredible. Very, very, very well played in the later phases by FoR to find this advantage. It's just a shame that he didn't find it a couple minutes sooner, because he would definitely have a good chance at winning this game. Currently still a minor victory for Winters in 1 minute and 30 seconds. Verflammen now going for the infantry on this bottom side. Oh, a couple of those rockets hitting pretty hard. ME-109 G2s going to be going for the air engagement with Gabby and the Thunderbolt there. First, ME-109 instantly forced to fall back due to Gabby and the P-47. There is 2 88s on the ground though, so they might be able to force Gabby to maybe fall back and then get that shot down by FoR. Yeah, it looks like FoR's going to be able to possibly get on the back of Gabby. Never mind, it's going to be continuing to circle with the P-47. Probably a good idea, just to avoid his ME-109 being shot down itself. Another P-38 though coming in. Can the P-40 or Flak 88 save the day? That one's been forced to fall back. Can he make the P-38 fall back? Or not quite. This ME-109 might just be out of range. So no planes going down in that engagement. Pretty crazy. +3 in favour of FoR at the end of the game is not going to find victory. I am very sad for FoR at the moment. I think just some of these plays he's made late game. I completely forgot about this HS-129 in the mid game as well. Like, that is just such a big deal. +3, he might even push the +4 before the end of the game, but it's not going to matter. 5 seconds, 3, 2, 1, and Winters wins the game with pretty much 4 units left on the map. Just an absolute crazy one today. What an absolutely fantastic game. For the full 40 minutes, Winters is going to be moving on to the 3rd round in the 2nd Asia Pacific tournament. FoR, unfortunately, going to be dropping down to the lower bracket with 4,025 kills to 2,140 losses. FoR had a crazy kill death, but it just did not pay off. The 2nd Infantry had a lot of pressure early on, and that's really what won the game. I just feel like it's such a shame that FoR could not bring it back. These Lorraines did a lot of work onto these rifles, onto the 107mm mortars there. You can see it took out a 60mm mortar. And then the Verflammen with the chain kill onto the ducks and the xylophones. absolutely fantastic. This Verflammen as well, they paid themselves off like 3-4 times over at least. Crazy kills coming in from that artillery management on FoR's side of things. Very, very nice to see. Absolutely fantastic game. And hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I certainly did. And I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.